more than a distant land, over a shining sea, more than the steaming green, more than the shining eyes. Well, they tell me it's only a dream in Rio.
This is Russ Miller, and I play drums and percussion.
Hey everybody, I'm Jerry Watts Jr. I play the bass, the Bajo Electrico.
My name is Rick Krive, and I am the keyboardist and vocalist.
The sun in his jealous sky as we walk in the fields of gold, as we walk in the fields of gold. You're in my arms, and I feel you're so close to me. All my wildest dreams, they're gonna all come true.
This band started sort of in a little bit of a backwards way, I guess. When I did the Arrival record, which even though we ended up naming this band Arrival, you know, that sort of self-titled record in a way, that project was a humongous, ridiculous project that took a really long time.
His idea this time around was to create more of a band sound. He's had a lot of special guests, amazing people on his other records.
Because it's less musicians, we have more of an opportunity to stretch out. So even in the accompaniment, there's an improvisational aspect. And because there's just three of us, and there might be percussion on the two things.
With the live album and tour where we did the guest artist synced via HD video on stage and that whole concept. But that's how this came about. Is coming out of the Arrival record, it was, wow, I need to actually just create a functioning ensemble that we actually can go and work and play, and so that's how this trio sort of came to be.
I think the intention was to have a more cohesive kind of a sound.
Now that we've established, okay, we have this trio format and this is what we're going to move forward with, I needed to do compositions and the sound of the band just sort of directed a little bit more towards this incarnation, these players, and you know what the sound of this ensemble is.
The definite Brazilian influence. There's a very heavy, groove influence.
It's an expressive music, which means that it's improvisational in nature, in a jazz genre, so to speak, but there's an underpinning of Afro-Brazilian music.
You know, it just so happens that I have a real affinity for Brazilian music and things that are of that nature, a little more Latin in nature. I just love this stuff.
Among the fields of gold.
Rick is heavily influenced by that. He goes to Brazil quite a few times a year. He sings in Portuguese. He can speak Portuguese.
Ela no centro da tela daquela manhã. Tudo que não era ela se desvaneceu.
What I'm trying to bring to it is my experience being in Brazil, being with Brazilian musicians, and that sensitivity, that harmonic sensitivity that I found there, that's what I'm trying to bring here. And of course, I'm trying to bring my best.
Jerry as well has been, you know, very involved in Afro-Brazilian music. You know, playing with some of the really the biggest Brazilian artists. So without being Brazilian, any of us, I think that those guys have a sort of an undertone of that style, sort of naturally. And I, being from Miami and having played with a lot of Afro-Cuban and Afro-Brazilian artists from that area, I've been really influenced by, culturally and musically, by South America.
I mean, this is why when Russ brought this up, this is right in my wheelhouse. I love that. And I love arranging, I love taking those tunes maybe that are even from the pop repertoire and bringing them into a more, you know, so there's improvisational elements and yet it's recognizable.
The sound of this record, and I think an underpinning of this ensemble is, you know, that both guys are very connected towards the expression and feel of music, which I am as well. So it's an expressive ensemble. It's not like, you know, screaming at you the whole time. You know, there's moments that are beautiful and there's moments that are exciting.
There's an emphasis on song and on melody. There's some really interesting harmony, which is really, can be really refreshing. And so it's just interesting to me that a drummer would choose to make a record like this with singing on it, with really interesting melody and harmony. And it's an album that stands up to repeated listenings.
Everything belongs in the record. It's all, you know, nothing's like stylistically odd. Everything belongs and it fits a certain niche.
There's an art to all of those moments, I think, and hopefully everybody can see that and just, you know, enjoy it as a listening experience.
It's all about the music.